welcome to the next ADR Chat with me, Asha Sherwood. Today I've got another Abu Dhabi, I don't know if we'd call you an institution now, because you've been here, been here a while. It's Tamara Clarke. She is an author, she's a journalist, she's a tech expert, she's a mother, she's an NBA cheerleader. She's doing it all right now, and she's got a bit of time to come and talk to us. So welcome, Tamara.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Yeah, so I was just saying, that was a bit of an introduction for you because you're kind of doing it all.
Yeah, wearing a lot of hats right now. And it tells my age too.
Well, we were talking about this. We're not really spring chickens anymore.
No. But we're not out the pasture yet. That's the thing. Yeah.
Very true. Yeah, we've not been put out to pasture. I'm just waiting for that point. I'm waiting for our kids to sort of tell us that please drop me off on the corner. You're too embarrassing, although I'm getting that already. So you've got two boys.
Two boys.
They are a very similar age to my daughter as well. They're at school. One thing I've seen recently that they're doing, and we'll get into all of the things that you do because you do so many things, but we'll start with the most important job, being a mum.
Being a mom.
And your boys are doing so many things at school, but they're also part of this new NBA world that's coming to
us. Yes, which is so good for us as Americans. That's our sport.
Yeah. And
when we first came here, there was limited basketball, if any, especially for kids. So NBA and Abu Dhabi have partnered. They bring the preseason games here. And as part of that, they have the junior NBA, which is a grassroots basketball program for kids. And we couldn't be more thrilled. So they get the opportunity to learn, practice all year. They have competitions. They get to meet stars. Yeah, they have pictures with NBA players. And so, it's been amazing, an amazing ride.
It's completely blown up in Abu Dhabi, hasn't it?
It has.
I didn't know so many people loved basketball until...
And I'm so glad so many, because if the games happened last year, and people didn't, go, we didn't buy the tickets, then, we probably would have missed our opportunity altogether. But because there's so much fanfare, I think it's here to stay.
Great. Well, that makes me happy because it's, I think Abu Dhabi for a long time is known as the F1 capital, if you like. But we've really kind of grown. You've got your NBA, you've got your cycling, you've got your jiu-jitsu. There's so many different type of sports, let's say. But yeah. The basketball is a wonderful addition.
Yes, it is.
And it's quite a fanfare when you go and watch it as well.
It is. I'm
waiting for like Jay-Z and Beyonce to come.
And give us a big halftime or something.
I'm ready. Or just
we'll see. Yeah.
Just sit in the crowd, that'd be good. So talking about your boys. So I mentioned that you're an author. So even if people know of you, they may not know necessarily about your book writing. So tell me a little bit about how you became an author and what the book's about and everything else.
Well, the kids were the inspiration for the book, actually. My kids, we did give them access to devices rather early. And that's not, we weren't an anomaly here. You would be anywhere, in a mall, in a food court, you'd see a kid in a stroller holding the little Spec Man case with their iPad. I mean, it helps when you're out and moving around as a family. So we gave him the device, and I read a report by Norton Symantec that said the average age for a kid in the UAE to get their own device was 7. And it was trending lower. That was the average age. So some get it when they're older, some get it when they're younger. And it hit me that we're handing them these devices at these young ages, but we're really not giving them the tools to be successful on the internet. And so I thought about it and I said, well, this is a really technical subject. It's a tough subject. It can have an element of complication. So how do we broach the subject with our kids? And that's when I thought about doing a picture book. If it's one thing that I did when my kids were little, it was read them a story before bedtime. So having a picture book was meant to be like the conversation starter for parents to teach their kids about internet safety at a young age. So that's how all that came to
And
pass.
What's the book called?
It's called The Super Surfer. So
Okay.
it's a take on surfing the internet while surfing, like at the beach. And this little 5-year-old boy in the character, he encounters some obstacles as he moves throughout his day. And there are 3 foundational rules that are presented in the book to help kids navigate a little better online.
Brilliant. And is your son the star?
He is the star. He's the star of the book. And he has leaned into his stardom too. He does enjoy being the star of the book. Yes. So when I was working with my illustrator and doing character sketches and things like that, I did use pictures of him as the basis, So yeah, very much inspired by the kids.
I love it. It's such a, it's funny because, when I was young, I never really thought about my child being the inspiration to, so many children are an inspiration to products or services or anything like that. And I think book writing is one of those industries, let's say, that will just live on. It's not something that's going to fade away. That book is always going to be available.
Always going to be there.
And I like that because actually with internet safety, what you put online is around forever.
Forever, yes.
And that's a really important lesson that we have to teach the kids, whether it's Messenger, whether it's social platforms, all of those things.
So again, I'm thankful for my age, because we did not have social media when we were coming of age. So our stuff is not on the internet, thankfully.
Correct. Although now it is.
Yeah.
We haven't
now
really
we're airing it out as adults. Yeah.
I don't know what's worse, to be honest. So actually, talking about kids on the internet and stuff, you probably, just like me, just like many parents who are listening now, have had to really, because we didn't grow up with social media, we didn't grow up with the internet. My daughter was shocked the other day that I made my email address when I was at university.
Yeah.
So I said that you're a journalist, and some of the things you write about are technology or the new tech that's coming out. So to me, you're one of the sort of women in tech. That's for me, because you're one of the only women I know in Abu Dhabi that writes about technology. So, sorry, going back to the book, have you really had to fast forward your education in technology? Because most of us can use Instagram or Facebook, but there's more to that, right?
Right.
From new Apple products to, AI, to all of those things. Do you feel like you've really had to fast forward your education in a sense, not just for your kids, but for yourself as well in the industry that we're in?
Definitely have to keep my hand on the pulse of what's going on and developments as they happen. I have to do it to support writing. And I have to do it to stay ahead of my kids. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And how are you doing that?
I consume a lot of media. I contribute to it, but I consume a lot, and from different regions. So we could be at a different place in time in the UAE than maybe the States with respect to certain industries, or the UK, or if we move further east. So definitely being a consumer of global media helps to keep me up to date.
Yeah, that's very true. Actually, we are pretty far advanced, but there's many places that are much more advanced than that. This AI thing's freaking me out.
Yes, the AI thing and my husband's a teacher.
Okay.
So AI has shown up in his life in a big way. And parents need to be aware of that as well, that, when they say the homework is done, you might need to take it a step farther and say, okay, did you use any tools to do that? Was that generated, or did you do that kind of a thing? Because it's showing up in education. Yeah.
And the other day I was like, gosh, that'd have been amazing if we had that when we were young. I remember sitting there with a Red Bull at 3 a.m.
and just powering through. Maybe some Cliff Notes. Maybe that's about as good as it got for us.
Well, this is it.
Yeah.
Somebody else's Cliff Notes that have been in the book, still in the book. You're like, oh, brilliant! I'll use that. So, I think, you're completely right about having to be a step ahead of your kids. But you were talking about us being, you know, maybe a bit behind or even ahead of other countries. So obviously your accent is from a very large country.
America. I'm American.
So how did you end up in Abu Dhabi?
Well, it's funny. It just kind of happened. I was actually pregnant with my oldest son, and my husband was putting feelers out for a new job. It had always been a dream of his to teach abroad. So he pops into our home office one day, and I'm sitting there, you know, just doodling, and he's like, "Listen, I see jobs posted for this place called Abu Dhabi." We didn't know anything about the UAE at that time. And he said, "I'm thinking about applying." Now, again, I don't know what it is. It could be a hoax, but you know, if I apply, would you be willing to go? I said, yeah, and kept right on doing what I was doing. I didn't stop, didn't think about it. And he applied, and an agency got back in touch with him, and things became more and more official. And I thought, oh, I better research this place. I could end up living there. And yeah, he got a job offer, and he got a potential departure date. So we were planning for that. And then nothing, right? Radio silence. We're familiar with how the processes can go here. Nothing for months. So he has to move on and find another job. You know, we can't just depend on this coming through, and we haven't heard from anyone in a couple of months. So he did. We were living in Atlanta, Georgia at the time. He ended up taking a job in Maryland. He had been working that job for 2 months. And then out of the blue, he gets an email saying, "Which airport would you like to leave from?" So at this point, we're back to thinking, okay, maybe this is a little bit of a hoax, you know, whatever. Just tell them, you know, you want to leave out of Washington, Reagan or whatever. And he did. And the next day they sent him a plane ticket. So we were like, whoa, okay, okay, this is happening. And, you know, he picked up and he came. The recommendation at the time was that you leave your spouse and your children at home. Our son was about 4 months when that happened. So we stayed behind. We stayed with my mother-in-law, thrilling. And my husband came here and he worked and he got the house set up and made sure it was something that we wanted to do. And so that's how we ended up here. It was supposed to be for 3 years and it's been 10. So.
And it's always the way.
Yeah.
Always the way.
They pull you in. They pull you in. I mean, and even when we go home for the summer, like I always miss home. I miss family. I go home, I like eat my way through all the things I've missed and I see everybody. And after about a week, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go back to the UAE. So
ready to go home.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting because I didn't, it took me a while. I can still say I'm going home if I'm going back to the UK, but if I'm in the UK, I will say I'm going home. Yeah, it's definitely, I really feel like it's home.
It's home. Yeah.
And it felt like that very early on as well, like maybe a year or two in. I was I'm not, you know, I'm 11 years in almost now, and obviously it is home, but after about 2 years I was like, this is it. I think you can get settled, right? There's always this.
You do. Like the first year for me was questionable a little bit. The first 6 months was really hard.
We had a baby.
Yeah. We did all the things they tell you not to do in like 1 year. They say like, don't switch jobs, don't move house, and don't have a baby. And we just like, boom, piled it on all in 1 year. So yeah, the first 6 months was quite an adjustment. And I must say this, at the time, back in 2012, there were Black Americans in the UAE. There were few, you know, you'd see around in Abu Dhabi. Most of them that had been hired as teachers were in Al Ain, not Abu Dhabi proper. So me with this skin and this hair, I was an anomaly everywhere I went. And I felt like people stared at me everywhere I went. So I don't know, there's a pressure or an uncomfortability that comes with that. So, but I made it. I made it through that.
But it's true, actually, you saying that, because a lot of teachers were in LA in general, wherever they were from, they were in LA.
Yeah.
Well, obviously you had, but in 10 years, how many schools have been built here?
Yeah. And a lot of people have migrated into Abu Dhabi. And we were given that option too at first. They were like, do you want to go to Al Ain? Or do you want to be in Abu Dhabi? And we talked, and he was like, no, I want my family, in Abu Dhabi. So, yeah.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history.
As they say. I know. So so you've been here 10 years. What would you say is your Abu Dhabi highlight?
Oh,
yes, sorry. Put you on the spot there.
I would have to say my second son. He was born here. Giving birth abroad was a process in and of itself. It was different, than having done it in the States. His birth certificate is beautiful. It looks so much better than everyone else in the family. It came in this envelope with the US flag on the front, and it's on beautiful paper, and it's embossed. He just has the most beautiful birth certificate ever, and ours is just a little little fold up.
Wow.
And he has his UAE birth certificate. And so he has a version in English, a version in Arabic. And I think those things are going to be, the circumstances around his birth will be special for him going forward.
And for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree.
So that's my highlight. If I had to say a personal highlight, like just about me,
is about you,
would be the reinvention of myself. So when back in the States, I worked in software development. So that's the tech angle that I have. And I came here, there wasn't a career plan for me, but I didn't want to be completely out of the mix, because I knew at some point you'll want to jump back into your career. So I said, well, maybe if I write about technology, that'll give me a way to stay in and stay relevant. So I started a blog, a tech/lifestyle blog. And that was my entry point into journalism in this country. So I wasn't a journalist back home. That happened here. So I would say that's my Abu Dhabi highlight.
And I've got to say, this is the place to reinvent yourself, right? I think I think there's so many opportunities here for people that have just a bit about them, a bit common sense, a bit of get up and go. Exactly. And I think if you have an idea, you can really push yourself. And actually, in one of the podcasts that you may have heard before, we spoke to somebody who is like a business and strategy consultant. I can't say the word, consultant. And she was saying that what happens here is that, most people just have ideas, but they don't have the know-how necessarily, or the confidence to work out, okay, let's make a plan of this. Right. So I think being in this place and I think one of the luxuries is having time, right? Definitely. To have the time to reinvent yourself, to come up with a product or a service that will benefit the Emirate or the UAE or just your community as a whole. So I do think having that as a highlight is considerably valuable. Yeah, because you've completely turned it around. And because the country is young, there's so many emerging markets here. So there are opportunities across a lot of different industries to make your mark. Yeah, I agree. Okay. I agree, actually. So speaking of that, because obviously you're an author and you do a lot with literacy events, don't you? Yes. So tell us a little bit about what you've done. Well, I have worked with the Emirates Literature Foundation, and I've participated in the Emirates Airline Festival of Literature, which takes place in Dubai. Also, the Abu Dhabi Book Fair takes place in Abu Dhabi. And this year, for the first time, next week, actually, I'll be participating in the Sharjah Children's Reading Festival. And I'll be participating on panels with other authors, and I'll also be doing school readings.
So school readings is a big part of what I do as an author. And it's a way to contribute to the literary community, and the writing community here, in the Emirate where I am. So it's always good to go into schools to engage with the students. And yeah, that's I promote. Also, I have yet to do a digital or Kindle version of my book, because I also believe wholeheartedly that children should interact with physical literature as much as possible, especially in the early stages of their life before they move on to those other versions. So yeah, so going into school with a physical book and a physical little activity book that they can do activities in is it's good.
Yeah,
it's something I enjoy.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, actually. I think my daughter's got a bookshelf full of books, so she hasn't really even got time to read a lot of them, not because she's on her electronics, but because school life's so busy, activities are so busy. So yeah, no, I think that's wonderful. That's and it's a great way to connect with the kids and also to understand what they're into as well, because you've written one book. One book you written one?
I wrote one picture book.
Okay, so you may go on to then write your second book, but I think for you to be going into those schools and talking to the kids and reading whatever it is that you're reading, whether it's your book or something else, that you really get an idea of what makes them tick as well.
Exactly. Yep.
Have you got any plans?
I do.
Ooh.
I do. And I have started writing a second book. The second book is a bit different. Instead of a picture book, I do want to write a middle grade novel. And I've started it. So
are we allowed to know what it's about?
It takes on the genre is magical realism. So it's about a parallel between our physical world and being inside the internet. So that's all I'll give away.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But yeah, that is in the works. Yeah.
A few years time be on Netflix.
Yes. Hope that's where we're going. See, gotta speak it into existence. Yes, definitely.
That's our end goal here.
Yeah, that's the end goal.
That's also what the consultant said to me about making sure that when you start your business or whatever it is you're doing, you've got your end goal.
You have your end goal in mind.
So we've worked that out. Netflix.
We got Netflix.
We've got that. Okay, so I kind of talked. I mean, you're doing loads at the moment, and I think a lot of parents are in the same position, trying to look after their children, but also make their way in the world. And you had a full-time job prior to coming here. Do you think you'd ever go back into full-time employment?
I tried.
Okay.
I tried. In 2019, so I had been out for about a whole 10 years. I got a job working for a local community magazine, and it was probably the worst year of our lives. And you would think, you have more income and this and that. It was horrible. It was horrible. And I really, really took stock of how the benefit of me being based in the home is for the entire family. So I don't think that a full-time 9-to-5 situation is ideal for me anymore. I can't be tied to an office space or a desk for a set period of time. I think freelancing, flexible gigs, working project or consulting work when it works for me is the best way forward.
Yeah. I did a full-time job too for 2 years. And I remember just being a zombie. Yeah. When I came home.
It was, that nothing outside of that job was really happening or getting done. But you know what? It's made me a lot more grateful for the flexibility that I have, because one morning after the job thing, we pulled up to school. We're in the car park, and thankfully we get there early and we live really close. But we pull up and all these kids are walking in costumes. right? My kid is in the back, head to toe, school uniform, polo, collared shirt, khaki short, and kids are coming in Spider-Man and this and that. So I immediately pick up my phone. I'm hoping he doesn't see. He does.
Oh no.
I pick up my phone and I'm like, oh my gosh. They sent an email, okay, and I had missed a bullet point there saying that on this particular day, they were going to be in costume. And so I say to him, I'm very sorry, I forgot. Do you want to go home and get a costume? He's like, yep. Okay. So I zoomed out of there, went home, put him in his Power Ranger costume from Halloween that year, and got back to school before the late bell rang. And after the hustle and bustle, I remember getting in the car thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful. If I had a job right now, okay, I would have had to call whoever I report to and explain I'm late today, or, you know, it would have been an issue. But because there was no employment situation in the way, I was free to just do what I needed to do for my kid. And so, yeah, that's the priority for me right now.
Yeah. It is tough. And I think, you know, I'm sure like you, I mean, I've worked pretty much since I was 15. I had a Saturday job at 15 years of age.
I started early, very early working.
Yeah, because I, you know, I kind of always wanted to do that. And I've worked up until the point that I had my daughter. And then that year off, I was like, oh, actually, this is quite nice. I've got a friend who would say that even during my pregnancy, I basically spent my time, because I lived on Ream Island, and the apartments that we lived in were quite new, so there wasn't many people around. So my last month of my maternity was waking up, going down to the pool in August. So you can imagine how hot it was. In August, swimming, lying on the lounger for 10 minutes and drying off completely, coming back. And he said my tan was like the best
best in the Emirates.
Exactly. But I suddenly was like, you know, I lived in London, so I never understood why anybody would want to leave London. You know, everything's so fast paced, sort of, you know, multicultural, so many things going on. And I came here and it took me a month. And I was like, okay, sure, I can get used to this. And actually, I think that's the wonderful thing about Abu Dhabi, because I think if I'd moved from London to Dubai straight away, I think I would have just got used to that pace, because the pace of Dubai is
different.
Very different. And now if I go to Dubai, I'm like, oh, take me back.
Take me, yes.
Not because I don't enjoy it there, but it, you know, the traffic,
I enjoy it in doses. Like, I'm happy to live here, drive in when I want it, and come back home to Abu Dhabi.
No, I agree. I think Dubai's got some wonderful places to go, some wonderful attractions to see. I actually feel like I'm a tourist when I go there now, because I don't go that often. So when I go down to JBR, for example, when we went I think it was last year, we went to JBR, and I felt like I was in a different country. It was like a holiday town. So, you know, I appreciate the slightly slower pace, although I will say that in 10 years, that pace has not slowed down. It has got faster here. And I think I'm kind of relaxed, so I need to keep up. With the pace. So where's your favorite place to go in Abu Dhabi?
Are we talking food or what?
Okay, Abu Dhabi review, we do 3-point reviews, right? So let's pick 3 different things. Favorite place to eat?
Favorite place to eat.
And that's a tough question, being journalists, because everybody asks us that question. And it's difficult.
Oh my gosh.
Well, it doesn't have to be favorite, but a place you like to go to eat.
A place I like to go, at brunch and cake. That's always a favorite, always top of the list for me. You know, if a girlfriend says, hey, you want to go? Yeah, let's go to brunch and cake, you know? So brunch and cake is a favorite.
That is nice. Have you had the ice cream?
I have not had the smize. I have not had it. No, because that's the other thing. I like a sweet breakfast, right?
Okay.
So I go there and I have this huge stack of pancakes with a little fruit, but I have all the succulent stuff on it. And then I'm always like, well, no, I don't need to add ice cream to that. But I'm gonna have to try the ice cream.
One of the best things is the little cookie dough in the middle.
Okay.
So good. That's
okay. I'm gonna take that recommendation. Okay. But I have to do this though. But my second favorite is Jones the Grocer. That's like always a standby for me.
That's an institution here.
Yeah. Wow. I love Jones.
Which one do you go? Oh, you must have
Raha Garden.
Okay, yes. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Jones was pretty much the only place you went to, right? That was the only standalone, 10 years ago, it was the only standalone restaurant.
It was, yeah. Especially out, you know, in cities, in bigger cities, you drive 20 or 30 minutes to get somewhere, that's standard. But in Abu Dhabi, Khalifa City is way out there, you know, Al Falah is way, way out there. So yeah, way out there, Jones was the only thing we had.
Right. But even I've got to say, in the city, instead of, because when I first got here, the only restaurants we could go to really were in hotels.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't
have the standalone. You're right.
You didn't. You had Jones the Grocer, which was I think one of the only places to be open during Ramadan at that time as well.
Hotels and malls. Yes. I remember when I got here, you had to go to the mall for everything. Like even like you want to get your water turned on in your flat. Like you go to the mall to do that. So yeah, you're right about that. Standalone stuff wasn't a thing.
No.
Then.
And now I'm just so delighted.
Drive-throughs wasn't a thing.
But that's really recent as well.
Yeah, really recent.
Have you done the Starbucks drive-through?
I attempted on the way here. I attempted and I thought, you know, school run is over. Surely the line won't be. No. I was like, am I going to be on time for...
so sorry about that. You didn't get my coffee this morning.
I didn't get my coffee this morning, but yeah, I have taken the tour, you know, and done the little Starbucks drive.
Okay. We've done food. What about a place to go as a family?
A place to go as a family.
You could think it could be beaches, could even be restaurants, could be out in the desert.
We love ourselves a good staycation, and we never go to the same place. So I can't give you a specific place, but we do love to book in and be tourists, I guess.
And do you do that in Abu Dhabi then?
We do it in Abu Dhabi. Well, I'll tell you, our favorite place is Rixos.
Okay.
On Saadiyat. And I think they have the best kids club we've ever experienced in a hotel.
At Rixos.
I don't know what that is. What's that?
So somebody who's been on our podcast before, Anissa, I could be wrong. So maybe I won't put this in. Okay, the Rixos.
Okay.
Yeah, I won't put that in.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I'll talk about this to you now.
Probably because I mean it's a separate, like they have a water park inside their kids club whole situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know that Anissa used to do playcation there, which is basically obviously getting the kids off the electronics, but also making kids club a little bit more interesting, not just coloring. Yeah. Making it a little bit more fun. And I think she actually launched it at Rixos. Whether they do it there anymore.
Well, that makes sense because I mean they put on things like the kids would paint. They could sit on a platform where you had seating and you had all this beautiful scenery around you. Of course, the beautiful Saadiyat beach, and they would paint and they hired like a harpist to sit alongside. I'm like, very different than how I grew up, you know, the vacations we had. But yeah, we love it at Rixos. Love a good staycation.
So we've done food, we've done somewhere to go as a family. What about for you? You as Tamara, do you have time to go and just be you somewhere?
I do. Well, my hair. Okay, so for many years here, I had to do my own hair. There was just I had to do my own hair. And the market has first we had to go and find where the services for us would be offered, beauty and aesthetics. And it's in the city. It's like this little block where you have a lot of hair salons and barbers. And most of them are African. So the Africans know how to cut our hair, manage our hair and all of that. And so I finally was put in touch with a loctician who's here, and he's recently opened his own shop. But for the last 2 years, I've consistently been able to go to a salon and have someone else wash my hair. And that is for me. That is my thing. So yeah, I'm happy about that.
And I know you're saying that as if some people will be like, "Oh my God, well, is that it?" But actually,
that's it.
That is such a bonus.
It is. I mean, I I don't think I've ever been a spa girl. I wouldn't mind giving it a try. So,
massages over here.
Yeah. So, and I am busy, but that's the thing for me, being able to go and have my hair done, because it does take a while every time it's done. So
how long
it's like a 4-hour process.
Okay.
So to be able to just sit and get that done is a nice little luxury.
No, you're right, because we do so much for everybody else. And we were I was talking about this to my friends the other day, that I needed to get my roots done because this is not real. And we were talking about the fact that we didn't have time, and actually I get to a stage where I need to maybe get my nails done, get my hair done and everything. And I just keep it all for that one time, because even though I have this time to myself, I only have an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So for me to do an hour one day and then another hour another day just doesn't make sense. And that is one thing I love about Abu Dhabi is that, and I think in other Emirates too, is that when you go and get your hair done, in majority of salons, you can also get your nails done, or you can get your threading done, or whatever that is.
If I go get my nails done, I can get threading and this. You can have a hammam, would you like shoulder massage?
Exactly. And I think there's one salon, I'm just name dropping here, but I think it's Badashing, I think. They have a chair that you just sit on. They just do everything. You just literally sit on this chair.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
Bottom.
Yeah,
from top to bottom, they do everything. So I think there's we are so limited on time, I think, doing all the things that you're doing. Yeah. Plus all of your mother stuff, your school run, yes. You're a wife as well. And I think sometimes it's easy to forget because, the husbands are working a lot, and our time is mainly with our kids. And if it's not with our kids, we are doing everything else. Yeah. So yes, you do have to make time. You do for your spouse. Yeah, you have to. You do. But so that's not added on. Sorry, guys. That's added on. But what I'm trying to say is that then your time is so limited. And my husband and I have this conversation all the time. By about 9:30, 10, he's like, "Oh, it's time to go to bed." And I'm like, "No, I've just sat down at 9:30. I need time to sort of decompress. Decompress my day." Whether that's scrolling through reels, because frankly, I'm happy to do that, or having the TV on, or doing both. I was about to say, or even to sit down and focus and watch something. I remember like on evenings and weekends, when my kids were babies and toddlers, their dad would think, these kids are out to sabotage me. They won't let me do anything. To him, it was unreal that as soon as he sat down to watch something on TV, one of them needed to be tended to. This was my real life, like every day. So I never expected to watch a TV show or accomplish anything while they were awake. I would live my life at nap time and after bedtime. So I understand what you're saying. Once the house goes down, it's like, okay, now I can turn on a little bit. And it's so true. And even if it's an hour or 2 hours, and I know that means that at 11 p.m. going to bed, up at 5:45 or whatever, I know that limits your time for sleep. And many experts would probably tell me that's not, the healthiest way to live your life. But and it is true. You do need sleep for all these things, but you also need to be a person, to be a functioning human. You need a bit of time to yourself. And it took, I don't know about you, but it took me a long time to realize that, that actually I need to make time, whether it's fitness, whether it's sitting in front of the TV, whether it's reading a book, whether it's going out with my friends, because everything else is a constant, and I think that it's really important as women, even if you are the homes, if you're a homestay dad, I think that's also the same concept, because definitely. you are doing all the things that women are doing too, but I think actually sometimes for men they're just expected to just keep carrying on. My husband will go cycling for 4 hours at 6 a.m. or whatever. Listen, I was about to say, I think men, just like, in the workplace, when it comes to like negotiating or asking for things, we know there are statistics that prove that men are naturally better at doing that than women.
I think men still, I don't think this is probably going to get us in trouble, but I don't think I don't think they sacrifice themselves as much. I think they are still going to build in, okay, I need that little recreation time and it's going to be there. So yeah, I tell this story sometimes and it probably annoys him, but the day that I brought my oldest son home from hospital, my husband called and my mom was with us. So she brought us home. He was out moving around and working. And he called and he said, hey, how are you guys doing? Did you get all settled in? And I said, yeah, we're good. And I am literally sitting on the bed holding this baby. I can't even believe like, it's really here. And he's like, yeah, so I wanted to talk to you because I was wondering if you'd be okay. I know we're parents now, so you can totally say no. But I was wondering if you'd be okay with me moving my basketball day from Wednesday to Sunday. And I'm like, oh, sure. Okay. That was like the farthest thing from my mind. Like when I'm going to jump back into my recreation, I've got a whole human here. But he was like, no, we're parents, but still, got to get that basketball day sorted. So,
but actually, I will say that I feel like my husband, he's a big cyclist, right? And he cycles 4 a.m. sometimes in the morning, and then he comes home at 10, and then I'm like, right, this is what we're doing today, and you dare fall asleep on the sofa and all these things.
Yeah.
But he understands that I'm giving him that time to go and do his recreational stuff because he needs to do that.
Right.
And then he understands that if he falls asleep on that sofa, I'm not going to be happy.
Yeah.
Because we got a lot to do, and no one told you to go at 4 a.m. But unfortunately, the weather here means
the trade-off, the give and take. Yeah,
and I think that's been really powerful for our relationship, having that trade-off. Because if we didn't, I think it would be quite difficult. And it's funny because a lot of people say, "Oh my gosh, you let him go cycling, or you let him go overnight so he can cycle." I'm like, yeah, because actually, and I've said this to you before, so just in case you see this, husband. I actually quite like it because I get my decompressed time without having to worry that, he's going to bed, so maybe I should go to bed too, kind of thing.
We're one of those couples that value our time together. Yes. We also value our time separately as individuals. So yes, because we know some couples who like live together, work together, do that. And I'm like, wow, I don't know if I could be tethered to you like that all day long and we be this successful as a pair. Yeah. So yeah, I totally get it.
No, I agree. Yeah. They are important.
They are to the process. Yes.
Important to us. All right. Well, look, I think time's kind of running out. So I wanted to say thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And if anybody wants to follow Tamara on Instagram, what is your handle?
I should start that over. Yeah. All right. Because I am Tamara Clarke. That's it.
Oh, and that's the interesting thing here. Oh, go before we go.
I'm smashing my face.
Before we go, Tamara is not actually Tamara. Tamara is not actually Tamara. I learned last week that Tamara's name is actually
Tamara.
And so if you meet her, it's hi Tamara and not Tamara, although we all call her Tamara. Yeah. In fact, I actually call her T because it's just easier.
And I do answer to Tamara, because I do understand that's the pronunciation in this region. So, but yes, but before I moved here, I was Tamara.
Tell us again where that comes from, because actually
there's an American actress, Tamara Dobson, and my mother was inspired by her, and so she gave me the name Tamara. That's how.
And the rest of the world ruined it.
Well, the UAE was like, no, you are Tamara, and I said, okay, I am Tamara.
You are Tamara. I am Aisha, and we're happy with it.
Yes.
Anyway, join us next time for the next ADR chat. But thank you again, Tamara.
Thank you.
And we'll see you soon.
Bye.